Hey, it's BG. The climate crisis is a huge election issue. We are just coming out of a summer that included some of Canada's hottest recorded temperatures, devastating wildfires, and tornadoes that destroyed homes. As we continue to face these disasters, climate change feels more pressing than ever, with Canadians looking at politicians and their parties to take action. Now, many of us know this is happening, but first, let's break down climate change. What is climate change, and why is it changing and causing all of this to happen?
So the climate is the Earth's normal weather over a very long time. It usually takes hundreds or thousands of years for the climate to change, but recently our climate has been changing much faster. All these changes make life harder for our plants, animals, and people around the world. Now, the biggest cause of climate change is actually humans. When we use fuel like oil and gasoline or remove forests to make room for cities or farms, we release greenhouse gases into our atmosphere. These greenhouse gases cause our climate to get warmer. Normally, when the heat from the sun warms our planet, some of the heat reflects into space. But greenhouse gases act like a big blanket, holding some of it in. This extra heat can cause all sorts of problems for our planet and the plants, animals, and the people who live here. Our ice and snow are melting faster, our oceans are getting warmer and higher, and our weather is becoming more extreme with more heat waves, heavy rainfalls, and powerful hurricanes.
Canadians actually saw that this year in British Columbia when a heat dome settled over the province and left 570 people dead. Mussels and clams were cooked on Canada's coastline, and cities broke temperature records multiple days in a row. Here are some facts about Canada and climate change. Listen to this. Canada is currently the world's 7th largest greenhouse gas emitter. In 2018, of all the G20 countries, Canada was second for greenhouse gas emissions per capita. And in 2017, 24% of all of Canada's greenhouse gases came from trucks, trains, airplanes, and cars.
Now, one way Canada is trying to combat climate change is through the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement was an agreement made in 2015 and signed by Canada and 194 other countries to address and fight climate change. Under the initial agreement, Canada is committed to reducing its greenhouse gas emissions by 30% below 2005 levels by 2030. That target was then revised under the Liberal government this year to a target of 40 to 45% below 2005 levels by 2030.
Now, let's look at what some of the parties are planning to do to slow the effects of climate change. Here are some of the highlights from their platforms, and we're going to start off with the Liberals. This is what they want to do. They want to keep the existing carbon tax in place for provinces and increase it annually to reach $170 per ton by the year 2030, which they say will cut Canada's greenhouse gas emissions by 40 to 45% below 2005 levels by the year 2030. They also want to continue planting 2 billion trees across the country, creating roughly 4,000 jobs. Also, they have pledged to ensure the oil and gas sector cuts their emissions at the pace required to hit net zero in the year 2050 with 5-year targets. They also want to ban single-use plastics by the year 2030 and provide grants of up to $5,000 for home retrofits and interest-free loans of up to $40,000 for deep retrofits. Plus, they want to promote zero-emission vehicles and require more than half of passenger vehicles sold to be zero-emission by 2030 and 100% by the year 2035. They also want to build 50,000 more zero-emission vehicle chargers.
Okay, let's look at the Conservatives. They have a climate plan that follows the previous Paris Climate Agreement, which is less aggressive and is reducing the greenhouse gas emissions by 30% below 2005 levels by 2030. They want to replace the Liberal carbon pricing system with one that includes a price on carbon for consumers that will rise to a maximum of $50 per ton. The money collected through the Conservative carbon pricing system would be diverted to personal low-carbon savings accounts to be used by individuals to buy green products. The party wants to keep in place the current output-based pricing system on larger industrial emitters. The Conservatives also plan to invest in carbon capture and tax products imported from countries with low climate standards. They also want to invest $1 billion in building out electrical vehicle manufacturing in Canada. The Conservatives also want to ban the export of plastic waste unless the exporter proves that it will be recycled.
Now for the NDP's plan. They actually support the Liberals' net zero legislation and have set an emissions reduction target of 50% below 2005 levels by the year 2030. The NDP also pledges to eliminate fossil fuel subsidies and target net zero electricity by 2030 to move to 100% non-emitting electricity by 2040. Plus, they want to retrofit all buildings in Canada by the year 2050. They also want to offer low-interest loans to households that make energy-efficient improvements, waive the federal tax on electric vehicles, provide up to $15,000 for made-in-Canada electric vehicles, and help individuals cover the cost of installing a charger.
For the Green Party, they have the most aggressive target. They want to slash greenhouse gas emissions by 60% below 2005 levels by 2030. They want to do this by using an annual carbon tax increase of $25 per year, and they say it will create a clear and enforceable targets and timelines by 2023. They also vow to cancel pipeline projects, ban fracking, and slap tariffs on imports from countries with weak climate policies. Also, the Green Party wants to eliminate subsidies for the fossil fuel sector, and they promise a detailed carbon budget to keep greenhouse gas emissions within the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold, and say they want to name an all-party climate cabinet.
You know, what is very nice to see is that all the parties have a plan to tackle climate change, but not all the plans have the same target. So Canadians need to ask themselves, which plan do you agree with most? Hopefully this explainer will help with that decision, and don't forget to keep it locked to this channel for more of the best election coverage you will find during this election.